Hi there, welcome back to the YouTube channel. Please go and hit the sub button and then get ready to leave a like, or if you don't like it, leave me a comment and tell me why you didn't like it at the end of the video. So, I have a little bit of a soft spot, I'm going to be honest, and that soft spot is dragons. The first commander deck I ever had in paper was the original Dragon Precon, which I still have, not changed, still set up exactly how it was. So that's still there. And ever since then, I've always kept my eye on Dragon Commanders. You've seen me do Mirum, you've seen me do the Dragon. I've done some other ones. Cheese comes to mind recently, the Mono Red Artifact Loving Dragon. And I always tend to find time to do them. So, today's deck tech should be no surprise because it is Zurgo and Ojutai. Two blue, red, and white for a 4/4 Orc Dragon legendary creature with flying and haste. And Zurgo and Ojutai have X-proof if they've entered the battlefield this turn, so that's pretty good. And whenever one or more dragons you control deal combat damage to a player or battle, look at the top 3 cards of your library, put one of them in your hand, rest on the bottom of your library in any order. You may return one of these dragons to its owner's hand. Now, the last line there, you may return one of those dragons to its owner's hand, is confusing people, I know that. However, what you want to be doing is probably bouncing out Zurgo and Ojutai back to your hand, so you don't have to pay the command attacks on it, and you can attack again and again and again and again, and just basically dig through your library. However, for me, it's got to be dragon based because, you know, I have a soft spot for dragons, and this is what the deck looks like. We got 37 lands, we got 33 creatures and 29 other spells. I'll start with the lands. All the blue, white and red lands you can think of are in here. I've also got Field of the Dead, and there's a reason, along with Fabled Passage. Haven of the Spirit Dragons in here. We've literally gone for it. There's only 4 of each basic, but that's enough, that's fine. And then all the dual lands, Temple of the False Gods here, Reliquary Towers here as well. So, that's the land side. The ramp side is basically based around artifacts. So Mox Tantalite, Soul Talisman, Mana Crypt, Mana Vault, Soul Ring are all here along with Arcane Signet. But there is one key thing you need to understand with this deck. I want to play dragons. And there is one easy way of doing this so we can get lots and lots of dragon triggers if we need to. And that is Arcane Adaptation. Now, this card turned up in Ixalan a while back, and I don't think it sees enough playing Commander. Yes, it's difficult to go and find. You have to dig for it and get it out. But if you can get it into play, everything you control becomes a dragon. And there are benefits to having dragons come into play. For example, Scourge of Alicus. Whenever Scourge or another dragon enters the battlefield as you control, it deals X damage to any target where X is the number of dragons you control. Okay. Terror of the Peaks is obviously here, but that's just any creatures in general. And Ganax, Astral Hunter. Whenever Ganax or another dragon enters the battlefield under your control, you get a treasure token. So, having this in this deck is a bit of a no-brainer because we've got some ways of turning things that aren't dragons into dragons. Well, this is the only way, basically. There may be another one, but, you know, we want everything to be dragons. We want this in play as quickly as we can. We may have to dig for it and hope we get it, but, you know, we'll do it that way. So, let's look at the rest of the deck. Since we're going really down the dragon route, Dragon Master Outcast seemed like a simple inclusion for this. Hopefully we'll get 6 lands in play quite quickly, and then we get to get 5/5s. So, you know, at the beginning of our upkeep each turn. Likewise, Minion of the Mighty. If we can attack, it's got Menace. If we can attack with power 6 or more, we get to put a dragon card from our hand onto the battlefield, tapped and attacking. Seems sensible so far. Elixir of Immortality, just to make sure we put everything back in our decks when we get everything killed. Cyclonic Rift is here, just for a bit of board control. Hopefully we'll get to the overload point. Counterspell, Mana Drain for the same thing. It's a red deck, so Dockside is here. Sorry, it's always going to happen when I play red now. It's just too good not to until it, you know, eventually undoubtedly gets banned. But at the moment, it's staying here. Dragon Tempest is in as well. Creatures with get flying enter the battlefield, they gain flying, but you know, whenever a dragon enters the battlefield under your control, it deals X damage to any target where X is the number of dragons you control. Yeah. Dragon Lord Servant just drops a spell casting cost of our dragons down, and the first battles here. Invasion of Mercia. Mercury, sorry. Enters the battlefield, discard a card, draw 2, and then you can get it transformed by taking the full defense off it or dealing full damage to it somehow. To get the Kren Flame Right into play, discard a card, create 2 1/1 blue and red elemental creature tokens, and creatures you control then get +1/+0 and haste until the end of turn. So if you've got a whole load of dragons you've cast, you can do this if you've got it flipped. Gives all your dragons haste if you haven't got the Dragon Tempest in play. Arcane Signet I've mentioned. Metallic Mimics here. It's a shapeshifter. It's a dragon. See where I'm going with this shit? Another way of getting our dragons a little bit bigger to help out kill some of the other battles. So we've got the Invasion of Bellons in here just so we can pump our creatures up and have that nice knight token, which again could be a dragon. Invasion of Dominaria just so we could gain some life and draw a card if we need to. Again, the Serra Angel comes into play. It could become a dragon because of this, that's fine. Teferi's Protection to protect us. And then Sylvia Bright Spears in here. Now, I've got Korath Bright Flame a little bit further up. That's here as well. But dragons your team control have double strike just sounded really good because we are going to make this a dragon as well with the arcane adaptation. Don't forget it. And this is where the fun starts. Krenko, if we've got the arcane adaptation down, when you tap it to attack, you put a +1/+1 counter on Krenko and you get those goblins. Those goblins become dragons. Hello, Scourge. Right, do you see where we're going with this yet? Reaver Cleaver is also here just to give us some treasure and a little bit of pump on our creatures. Dragon Speaker Shaman makes all dragons cost 2 less to cast. So, if you've got arcane adaptation down, Krenko becomes 1. Hammer of Purphoros, just another way of giving everything haste. Bloodline Pretender, you choose dragons, it's a changeling, obviously. And whenever another creature of the chosen type enters the battlefield under your control, you get to put +1/+1 on the bloodline. Yeah, it just gets bigger, but, might as well have it in. Dragon's Horde gives us a little bit more ramp in the card draw. Herald's Horn, we choose dragons to make everything cheaper. We can always look at the top card of our library. Don't forget, arcane adaptation makes everything dragons no matter where they are. So if you reveal a goblin or anything else, you still get it in your hand because it's a dragon at that stage. And Icon of Ancestry, you choose dragons, they get +1/+1, and then it works really nicely with a horn because you can look at the top 3 and find a dragon. Good. Wrath of God controls the board along with Chain Reaction in the 4-drop slot. Invasion of Vrins here as well, just to draw 3 and discard 1, and overloading the Mage Ring is sometimes quite useful in this deck. Copy target spell you control. You may choose new targets for the copy. A copy of a permanent spell becomes a token. So, you can get some of your non-legendary dragons, you can get copies of them, which is fine. Big score, just a little bit of card draw and treasure drawing. Outpost Siege is here just so we can either exile the top card of our library or do the 1 ping. Not too sure on this one, but we've got it in anyway. First, next to the dragons are Tushi, Blazing Sky, Krenko, Mob Boss. I really want arcane adaptation naming dragons when I play this. All those dragons you're going to be able to create with, if you've got the Scourge in play, it's dangerous. It's very dangerous. Invasion of Xerix is also here just to bounce something, and we can knock the 4 off, which we should be able to do with this deck quite easily. We get another Angel Knight Dragon, hopefully. Galzef's here just so we can get a treasure token. There's no other reason for having it here. Plus it's a 3/4 dragon for 4. Invasion of Kylem's also here, and when it enters the battlefield, 2 creatures, you get +2 and gain vigilance and haste until the end of turn. If we can knock the 5 counters off, we get those nice white, red and white warrior tokens that whenever this token, at least one other creature token attack, you get a +1/+1 counter on this creature. Fine. Got enough ways of making tokens, haven't we? Just saying. Anyway, Solemn Sim helps with the ramp. AO the Dawn Sky, just so we can return some of the things that may have been killed with mana value 4 less, or if not, we'll just have a load of +1/+1 counters. Sunscorched Regent, gain a life counters every time someone casts a spell, who isn't you. Ganix, I've already mentioned. Terror of the Peaks, I've mentioned. Scare of the Valkus, I've mentioned. It's one of the key cards in this deck. Dragon Lord Ojutai's in, just because I figured we might as well have the other version in as well. Though I would quite happily replace this with some like Swift Foot boots or something similar, just to protect Zurgo. But we're going to be bouncing Zurgo and Ojutai in and out, so it's not that big a deal. Karen the Swirling Sky, the Swirling Skies in as well, coming over from Neon Dynasty, get it right. It's quite nice bouncing the stuff or getting the 6 mil instants and sorceries back. There's the other half of the partner pairing. There's Kovlev the Bright Flame. So your knights your team controls have flying and haste. Now, the other option you've got, if you can't find adaptation, is to... Well, if you've got Arcane Adaptation, you haven't got many dragons left because for some reason they've all gone, you could name knights with it, make all your creatures knights, make sure they all have flying and haste. It's not a bad turn off. Ancient Copper Dragons here, just to get some treasure. Hellkite's in as well. Deals combat damage to an opponent player, gain control of all their artifacts. And then at the beginning of your upkeep, if you control 20 or more artifacts, you win the game. So it's another alternate win condition. Inferno of the Star Mounts is just an uncountable dragon with haste. Lathis, because it's a dragon deck, it's got red in it. There's no point not having Lathis in a deck just to give you those extra dragons. Every version of Niv Mizzet is also here because they all do work together quite nicely if you can get all three into play. Ancient Gold Dragon gives us some fairy dragons, gives us tokens. It's a 7/10, really hard to deal with. Terror of the Mounts gives all our creatures double strike on the turn it enters. We can win quite happily with this card. And then Ovika Enigma Goliath is I think it's one of the few non-flying dragons in the deck. Obviously, Arcane Adaptation changes all that, but whenever you cast a non-creature spell, you get all those nice Phyrexian Goblin tokens, and they gain haste, but they could be dragons. Ancient Silver Dragon just helps get some card draw and make sure we haven't got to worry about our hand size. And Utavi Hellkite, get all those nice 6/6 dragons come into play, and hopefully, with one of these two in play, win the game very quickly there afterwards. And finally, the last bit of board control is Blasphemous Act, because why wouldn't I? And that's it. That is how I'm going to be playing Zurgo and Ojutai for the time being. I think it's quite fun playing it on a dragon base, so I've gone through this quite quickly, but you can see the point. I mean, the whole point of this deck is Arcane Adaptation. Now, I could play ways of going and getting it, finding it, I know that. But some of those cards are a little bit pricey for me on MTGO at the moment, so I've left them out. But if you've got the tutors to go and find enchantments, put them in, take out some of the cards you don't like. I would strongly suggest possibly the Outcast maybe is one that could come out, along with maybe one of the weaker battles like Invasion of Mercadia, that's the one I'm trying to get to. That could come out as well if you've got the tutors to go and find the enchantments, so fine, feel free to do that. But that's just the two things I would change if I had access to the cards. But that's it. That is my deck take on Zurgo and Ojutai. Again, it's a dragon theme. I suspect there are other ways of doing it. I suspect you will be able to tell me in the comments what way you built it, but I just want to play around with some dragons. So that's it. Thanks for watching the video. Please leave me comments down below. Let me know what you think I should do better. Let me know what you thought of the video, what you want to do. Please, please, please hit the subscribe button. Sitting at 168 as I record this video today. You never know, you might have watched it and it might have gone up to 170. And if you've hit the subscribe button, hopefully it'll be 171. So thanks for watching that. And, take care. And I'll see you in the next video that will be coming very soon. Take care. Bye.